Madrid, Spain. Last year, 2020, we forget this cup in Scotland, but they'll be postponed due to the COVID. So this year, we dey go Glasgow for COP 26. And this very unique this time because His Excellency the President, they attend this COP na Glasgow. What do you care go na this COP? We all know the problems they get. Environmental issues, as the report on all this thing, is very, very serious. It affect agriculture. It affect water. For example, the sporadic rain not they can the right time, it affect the yield of things that we people that they get from agriculture. Water, because of global warming, the water they dry up. Okay, that they need to pour sanitation. Because they walk long distances for go get water. When they come back, then go tired and morning for go school. Also, a lot of things that happen to the girl child where they go get water. We also, they talk about energy, okay? When this sporadic rain for even the hydro, I still remember the Bumbuna, even the Dodo Dam. I just come out of the dam last week. The dam level, the water level at the dam very low because of all these activities and encroachment as well. Okay. We also get health issues because if the sun warm too much, other pathogens where they cause health problems, it will become more active. But what it really did caused a lot of these things, like the deforestation, both cutting down the trees and also the mangroves and the coastal areas. So we they go as a government, we they go present we case now to COP. And the interesting thing is, which is very, very unique, we get pavilion, where now only the whole West Africa, and Sierra Leone will get pavilion for showcase how far we don't deal with the environmental issues and whose help we need. For example, the agriculture sector, what we don't do? What we don't do towards the energy? We are moving towards this fossil fuel, towards renewable energy, hydroelectricity, where they see the massive solar mini grids where they're all over the country. So now then kind of thing would they go present. But before this, every COP where they come, countries that they are required to provide what they call the nationally determined contributions. Okay? Waiting at this, when they present a document where to UNFCCC, that is United Nations Framework on Climate Change. Then they look at this document. If you not get them, then you are doomed. For the past 5 years, this stock taking not be done be for scope. This is not the year where would they go for really let them go assess what we don't do as a country and what we need, because we need to move this forward.
All right, so they can look at 10 issues and they want to go present. But let we go back to Usa, you start, where you begin talk. They give listeners them information about the COP itself, where you say, now opportunity this one is as platform for let countries them go show the progress where they don't make so far for able for tackle the issue of climate change. Now that you begin for tell listeners them, and you say this now the third time where you fortunate for the parts of the delegation where they go on behalf of Salon. So let we look at progress itself, the word progress, how far Salon day from that 2 year the way don't go represent the country to now, waiting don't change in terms of progress where the country don't make, because you talk say this one they affect agriculture, water and other sectors them. Waiting at the progress where Salon don't make.
Thank you very much. Let me take again this opportunity for thank the President, His Excellency retired Brigadier Dr. Julius Madabio, for establishing this new stand-alone ministry. The previous COP we attended, 2018 and 2019, me not be head of EPA. And when you go as head of an agency, it's different from where you go as minister. This time, the first COP, because I was appointed in November 2019, and that November, they will for COP, it not be right. So this time, my first COP. But I don't see significant difference. So what we don't do? The establishment of the ministry being great. But the president also say, there are certain things, certain agencies who not all know, will be placed under different ministries and other agencies then, we need for speak with one voice for you. So we try for bring them all together. For example, the forestry, wildlife, EPA, NPA, meteorology, nuclear safety and radiation. Why we do this? 3 simple reasons. One, we need to speak with one voice. If they're all under the umbrella of the supervision of the Environment Ministry, we get the mandate for regulate environmental issues in this country, it will be good for we. 2, we don't get emerging issues, will not be there. Like where will they go school? You not be there, but climate change. Now we need to incorporate that into the books. And then thirdly, the fines. This is very important. We get beaucoup law in this country, but enforcement not the problem. And why enforcement not the problem? Because now they fine. If somebody go commit a crime, you fine them something or money where would be as a deterrent, where we will commit that crime again. But let's take, for example, the Wildlife Act. It was enacted in 1972. Forestry Act in 1988. This law they don't hold. So that means the fines the way they be, they fine people there, they exist anymore. 1 million or 5 million. So they review all them acts then, and we don't take the bold step for also review the National Climate Change Action Plan and put a strategic plan together. We don't do all this so that when we go as a country, we get something for present. We also don't do a lot of development towards the transport sector, towards energy, mini grids, towards water. What will they do? Towards deforestation. My ministry, they had a national tree planting campaign for plant 5 million trees. Last year, we do 1.2. This year, we are doing 1.6. And from now to about...
Now, also, na planting trees in there.
Sorry?
Also, na planting trees.
All over the country in degraded areas. We don't plant over 70,000 acres of land. And it's not only about planting the trees for the environment. This also creates job opportunities. We're able to create 7,500 jobs for people.
So now we look at the environment issues here, and you don't talk about government efforts for create institutions. You don't talk about efforts for ensure say policies them when I review them. But when you look at the Yale Center report, when you look at the Notre Dame global report, when you look at global facility report on Sierra Leone, these are global institutions where they look at climate issues. Still, they put Salon third to last in terms of climate issues and climate change and treating the environment. What's not the missing link?
But that is not correct. We are no longer third.
Where are we?
We are about 50.
In what?
In climate change.
As of
issue.
when?
As of this year. That third way they talk about now just before Madrid in 2019. 2019, yeah. We don't climb the ladder. And why? I will explain.
In which angle?
We don't climb the ladder. The past few years, if you look at flooding in Africa, it don't minimize. You know why we could be go third? Now because of that motorman issue. But now we don't climb the ladder. We are doing very well. And with the establishment of the Ministry of Environment, this go down very well. And not only India, the president also established this interministerial committee comprising of 8 key ministries. Where would they go around for see, especially at the peninsula and sometimes at the provinces, what did they happen and how we able to mitigate that.
So now we look at the reports we just listened to, talk to different experts, then they talk about how forest cover or rainforest is being threatened, the mangroves not safe. You go now the Aberdeen Creek, it's visible, then they brush the mangroves, where a very important streak when it comes to environmental preservations. When you look at the reserve forest itself, report they show say people then still venture into these things. So it's worrisome with all these policies. Somebody will say by now Salon for don't pass this level in environment protection.
Thank you very much. Like I say, the environmental issues are not to yesterday begin. Not to do before yesterday begin. If it don't begin for long. So we need to change the mindset of people, the attitude of people. Let's just digress a little bit. You talk about the mangroves. We don't do a lot of work. We don't plant mangroves there. I don't witness that. I go meet people there. They call me 10:30 p.m. na net. We go meet people there. They brush the mangroves na Aberdeen Creek. 10:30 p.m. I don't go Takugama. You they go see people there. They brush na net. Do clean. They don't go. Now, what we don't do? The interministerial committee don't set up a task force. We don't put security forces, for example, na Takugama. I just made a joke with somebody for saying, Bala, no, they call me midnight again or 2 a.m. because there's some sanity. We they put measures in place, but it will take time for the measures in view. Now, when you go to the peninsula, people that they plant now slopey areas, now water catchments, and that's the problem we have. We will not get enough water in this city. But the water resources minister, with the research they do, they say we'll get enough water now the western area where we'll serve this whole country. We don't need for the Paroque River or do salination for get water. So what we don't do, the interministerial committee don't meet severally. I'm the chairman of that committee. It comprises of key ministries, water resources, lands, tourism. It comprises of internal affairs for enforcement. It comprises of defense. We don't put something together, say, we they demarcate their area there physically, and the process don't start. We they put giant pillars, 4 meters high, 15 meters apart, we intersperse them with trees. So anybody will cross that line there, we know say you do achieve your own detriment.
Mr. Minister, I make a ask, with all the issues that we don't mention, we yourself don't observe as Minister of the Environment. People brush the mangroves, people brush the reserve forest, people venture into catchment areas. Them make a ask with all the agencies, policies, them we don't review. What's in the missing link?
There's no missing link here.
What's in the issue?
It takes time for letting it. You see you read a report where they do now Cambo Hills. What you know be there, for example, there was no environmental court. Now we have an environmental court. What will catch you? That process or the legal framework they go very fast. So anybody who will catch, will they can go court and they go jail.
When I don't ever catch person.
Yes.
How much people when I don't catch?
Hundreds. We don't catch Boku. Even where go not only in Freetown, even in the Cambo Hills, even on the rivers where we are polluted, they be there all over the media. There we are dredges where they put by their rivers then for the mine. We go destroy all the dredges then. Right. We apprehend the people then.
Continue for the between the program. We go come back to you. A name now Professor Fode Jawad, in the Minister of Environment. There this morning they talk about issues that we get to do with the environment ahead of the ticket we for make to the United Kingdom as Salon go be one of the countries that we go there in this year. COP26. The
program na Good Morning Salon, we continue for look at more issues. We go na Parliament. We say the leader for the National Grand Coalition NGC na Parliament, Honorable Dr. Kande Koleyum Kela, don't ask the Minister of Technical and Higher Education, Professor Alpha Tijanuri, during the time where he go lay the Salon student loan scheme na Parliament for raise awareness to students them for make them know the difference between loan and grant, so that blabber no go be the term where government go implement this scheme. Well, from on this, we join Princess Pias.
Over the past year, people on the raise concern about the cost of university education. We make government been come with the granting aid for help students them, but with the number of students them where they get access to the granting aid, government say and say it not still do for reach all man. This reason make government not introduce the Salon Student Loan Scheme for support the granting aid. And according to the Minister of Technical and Higher Education, Dr. Alpha Tijanuri, now students them with disability, students them from poor background, then go give priority to where government will begin give this loan.
This year in particular, 6,125 applied for granting aid. We are able to support 2,750, just about 40%. Government, therefore, considers that we should now think of how we go for another mode of funding tertiary education, and that is by providing students loan. We think the scheme is for students that are Sierra Leoneans. The scheme would include people that are going for TVET education as well, not just university education. The scheme would have an interest rate which government initially can waive totally. Government has also said that the disadvantaged, the vulnerable, more so people with disabilities, would have a granting aid. So a granting aid scheme is not cancelled by starting a loan scheme. The loan scheme would be complementary to the granting aid scheme.
But after this statement, make the leader for the National Grand Coalition Party in Parliament, Honorable Dr. Kande Koleyum Kela, been concerned when make he ask the minister for raise awareness to students them for make them know the difference between loan and grant, so that's problem not ready for payback during the implementation process.
Let me say outright that I support the bill. I believe it is very important that we educate the students and their parents what a student loan scheme is. The clear distinction between a loan and a grant. Otherwise, we'll have some problems similar to what we've had in microcredit. So making people understand that this is not a grant. You will pay. So I think we need to educate those who want to access this, that it is a loan. The length of payment is important. So how the average time to repay the loans matter, because indeed, it is investing in people's future. And when do you start to pay? After you graduate. So there are some schemes, if your family's income is high, you can't apply for it. They leave it for the poor. So I don't know if in this scheme, there's going to be what they call a needs test. Some people who just cannot pay a loan. So they have grants for them.
This point where Honorable Yumkela raised not be different from the Paramount Chief Member of Parliament for Tonkolili District by Kanagbaro Sanka III.
You know, when the minister said you have to put up a collateral, how many people in Masingbi can put a collateral for their children? So we have to look at the scenario. In the United States of America, they give student loans to students whose parents can afford, but the children want to be independent to say, I paid my way through college. Those were the ones going for the student loan. The poor people, black people, the displaced people, the poor people are given scholarship by the state. We are happy that the government said free education, free quality education. We know they cannot meet all the requirements, but they are trying. The enrollment of the graduates to pay back their loans. After graduation, you've paid for them. Are we going to provide the jobs for them to work and pay back?
Honorable Chegno Majuba, now the leader for the main opposition APC party in Parliament, and self, Honorable Matthew Numa, now the leader of government's business, then self been talk about what they think for this scheme.
Definitely, we all agree that the bill is a relevant one. We've all agreed on that. Product that leaves this chamber should be the best. Do anything deliberate to delay the passage of the bill, but we will take the required time in ensuring that we do justice to the bill itself. We'll be looking forward to getting officials from the Ministry of Finance, because they will be providing the required funds. We don't want to talk about money and they are not there.
I said it earlier, it is not a slogan. It's not a political speech. We're talking about real issues affecting our people. We can only transform this nation by opening the space for education. We're talking about free education for junior and secondary school. So we are not creating a clean slate where you can get into tertiary education. You have all your qualifications. That's why it's not limited to only first degree, certificates, and diplomas are all going to benefit from this scheme. As I said, it's not a slogan, it's not a political speech. We are looking for a platform where we can change the lives of people.
After different concern for Member of Parliament them concerning this scheme, member them na Parliament be later send this bill na the Legislative Committee for make them go look inside the bill proper one before they turn them to law. For Radio Democracy, Princess Pias the report.
Salon Commercial Bank don't come with new banking products them for make life easy. With Million Online Bank and Million Mobile App, you can able for use Salon Link money transfer for send money to anybody elect you not get bank account. Transfer or receive money na the same bank or any other bank. Transfer money to person or office elect you not get the account number. Buy Exalite, pay other bill them, and now get advanced salary. You don't need for worry again, but almost money then you earn. Because you can able for pay for things the way you buy in a supermarket and other shop them with the quick response code payment. Yagbadon done for we boss man them. With Beyond Online Direct, you can upload salary, pay all you supplier them, sell forex to Salon Commercial Bank, and watch your account anytime. If you need the app, download them from Google Play Store or any Apple Store, or go to Salon Commercial Bank website www.slcb.com. Sierra Leone Commercial Bank, delivering God.
The program Good Morning Salon Day continue for sending message to number 077981981. We come back to his studio guest, the Minister of Environment, Professor Jawadi. There this morning, they tell me about thing them we government don't put in place as Salon go be one of the countries them for in the UK from the 31st to the 12th of November as they go represent the country for talk on issues we get to do with progress we country then they make for stop climate change. And before that commercial break, the minister be done they explain about the situation as Salon now and waiting them put together for go present on behalf of the country as progress where the country don't make. So let's go back to the issues them as we don't begin highlight them earlier. We be listening to a report where Musa Kamara put together, but some of the areas them where people still in the damage where they affect climate change overall. And you talk about action plan where you see now one pan the thing them na the carry go na the international community for go show as to waiting governments they do for stop some of them senior. And Yusuf mistakes earlier said not to the first time this, not to 1 year, 2 year, I don't take decades. People they don't tell them on our stop for the spoil the mangroves them, on our left for the cut stick, and do other bad thing them, but it's still continuously they happen. Now waiting at this bottleneck we action plan, for example, we don't the yearly documents and the policies then the way ministries and so supposed for the implement for stop them here, but it still they happen. Waiting at the bottleneck we make governments not able to put foot down and stop people for doing here.
Thank you very much. Two things. One, enforcement. You're right. There are a lot of laws in the books, but the enforcement are the key thing. As I mentioned, we don't get this environmental court established because first thing where any of them issues then come up, it will take long before the case they call them. Now we have an expedited case situation where in the environmental court they deal with the environmental issues and speedily.
But they make any change because if you go back inside the thing and they happen, even though people and they go courts, then they take action against them, it still they happen.
Yes. Why it not be done? They take action because as I be they say they find them. When somebody go commit a crime, you find a small money, it go repeat it. But if you find a money, we boku, it not go do them again. And that make we take the bold step for review then act then. Then the act will be done, they exist. All them buildings what I mentioned, about 6 of them. In fact, tomorrow I will go for the privilege in Parliament tomorrow. I will go Parliament tomorrow for leader. If that law then come into effect, some people they will still say, oh, it not be law it. But me no say, once it be done approved by His Excellency, the President is being gazetted, it don't go cabinet don't approve them, their law therefore be. But there is still some loophole, and that will they try for address. The next thing is education. And on that front, we work with the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education for include environmental studies in the school curriculum. Picking them way small, anything where they learn, now gospel truth for them. When they go home, they will educate people there. It's very sad, the fishermen, they go catch fish. The mangroves, now they fish that they lay eggs, and another mangrove that they caught for smoke them fish. Because they don't know they don't get the idea. So I think that this will for teach them. So when you cut tree, you increase the carbon footprint than the environment. Because that tree they now be the sequester, now be they take in the carbon, in order again. That tree in roots, now be they hold the soil together, now make erosion not be the bee. But if you cut the tree, erosion the bee. So it lead to flooding. You need to educate people and say, when you drink from your plastic sachet, you don't go just drop them. Because that sachet, they go now the gutters. Now they go block their hole the way they need to flooding.
So now waiting inside the action plan when they go present.
But it's a big document. It's about 167 pages of document. We call it nationally determined contribution. With a showcase. For example, what you don't do in terms of agriculture, smart agriculture, what will they do towards health, what will they do towards energy. Okay? Will they put all the things together so that when we go presenter, it will be a case. But maybe just look at this. Somebody they go cut tree, forget charcoal. That money now they use for feed in family. We not go just go overnight for say, not cut that tree again, not do charcoal again. We need to provide alternative livelihoods. And once we do that one day, and also provide an alternative fuel or energy for cooking. For example, we can embark on the LPG. Statistics say only about 7.8% of people in a salon now they use clean energy, for example, LPG for cooking. 72% of people they use charcoal in the Freetown area. So what we can do, we can put the law that they now make they put all this together in this National Climate Change Action Policy Plan.
So-
Where yesterday, now I just presented to cabinet, and that was endorsed
So
yesterday.
as long as alternative no dey, then people can go for continue for the
It
bond
could
call.
be difficult. Then we get for provide the alternative. So what you will do as a government, we get about 10 projects. 10 projects who don't align for present na COP26. And we get for them with pavilion or with booths, people in the car will they present. For example, one of them is deforestation. We want plant more trees. 5 million trees not enough. We need for plant maybe 25 million for able to salvage the situation. We need for stop people from doing charcoal. What are the alternatives? Biofuel, or we use manure, or we use LPG, liquefied petroleum gas. Now, we get to stop people then from cutting trees, from scaffolding. You see some people that want build up garage. You see beaucoup motocar then, you see sticks them way back where they cut. How can we stop that? We need for provide alternatives. We can easily do that by investing in portals of, for example, metal scaffolding. When you go abroad, now metal scaffolding they use, which is, if you look at occupational safety, is better. How possible go timber per small stick? You can forget flat side where the timber for do the construction. So now all the things that we put together, and when we go, we present them. As I said, now 10 projects on energy, on agriculture, on health, on environmental issues.
Now we look at the partners, them we wanna work together for put this document for good present, as we get plenty agencies them and ministries them connected to the issues of environment. What are them wanna work with for put this document together?
This are the cross-cutting. We work with a lot of MDAs. Of course, all the agencies already under the ministry, we work with them for meteorology. With the AVA, don't develop this early warning system. With the educate farmers there for say, oh, this year again for rain till December. Okay, that will affect the plant, the crop yield. We get for educate people the way they go do fishing. Okay, for say, hey, storm get for day, not carry boat go under. So all the early warning systems, we get EPA involved, we get NPA involved, we get meteorology, as I say, we also get tourism, fisheries, health. This is like a document we'll put together with a lot of other agencies, and this we get a big consultative meeting, and it was also validated.
So now we look at the agenda for prosperity 2013 to 2018. We've been committed to green growth. They talk about committing to low emissions of carbon, and also we look at the National Midterm Development Plan, where now in actions also they talk about low emissions and also environment precautions in development programs. Going into COP26, I want to take this to consideration and involve government development around the environment issues and take precautions in development areas as we will present in a position paper at COP26.
That's a brilliant question. COP26 is about reducing greenhouse gases, okay? About bringing temperature down to 1.5 degrees Celsius or low, according to the Paris Agreement of 2015. These are all very good, but what will they do as a country? We are heading from the fossil fuel, where they increase the greenhouse gases in the environment, to renewable energy, hydro. You see the mini grids then where this country don't embark on. Okay, so now they can't see what they do. For example, in the transport sector, the motorcar we don't own a street, we don't get a company where they can follow, they do fitness testing, emission testing on their vehicles then, so that the kind of noxious chemicals the way they release into the environment will be reduced. So you get for make sure say your motor car a well grounded for the inner road. So this they put in a lot of smart agriculture, for example. But in general, what will they do? We call them nature-based solutions. These solutions, what they do, that kind of problem they try for solve, we get for doing in such a way that, for example, when they talk about tree planting, this is nature-based. It's an adaptation plan.
Yeah. Talk about adaptations and also smart agriculture. Salon only presents the report Greenhouse Inventories to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change over the past years. Then, what says Salon Day in terms of emissions of carbon, and what in the future holds for Salon after COP26?
Thank you very much. Unfortunately, we they produce very little greenhouse gases, but now we they suffer most, because we not prepare for able to handle the effects of the greenhouse gas emissions. This is the reality. But now that make with the task, the developed countries where they pollute more, for let them contribute so that we can able to solve their problem in this country.
Okay, continue for the with we inside the program in Professor Moriba Jawad for the Moriba Jawad in the Minister of Environment. Inside the program they talk about the conference of parties when a COP26 we will be October 31 this year to November 12. We say Salon they go present position paper on the issue of environment. The program now Good Morning Salon where they come to you from the Society for Radio Democracy 98.1 FM. We go for a short break. We can continue the program.
Because money easy for loss, like how it easy for broke egg. You save not for life you couple business, so people they will not sabi, and one day we get ben. Union Trust Bank get all the correct and master sabi people them for help make you couple better. We na Union Trust Bank. Team up Tiranga, so your money go fine with no wahala, and you no go get we kind service no other side. Make good use of we SMS alert where they show you your money transaction. Enjoy we internet banking services for check your accounts. Safe, you can visit we website on www.utb.sl for no more, but we order plenty products and service them. Now Union Trust Bank. Excellence now with on card. Union Trust Bank. The force and true Salomon Bank.
All right, the program Good Morning Salon, they continue with a look at one power headline story them. Also, inside 2019, government through the Ministry of Information and Communication been bringing together different sector representatives them for put together national digital development policy for the country. From that same day to now, the Ministry of Information and Communication don't reach the validation stage of the National Draft Digital Development Policy. And inside this validation of the National Draft Digital Development Policy, the Minister of Information and Communication, Mohamed Raman Suarez, say World Bank don't agree for this alone, but $50 million for the digital transformation process. Saptiu Kalon gets more on this and he gonna report.
The Minister of Information and Communication took this inside the validation of the National Digital Development Policy. And this stage of the Digital Development Policy bring together regulator, consumer, and other people together for look at the stage where the draft National Digital Policy they now. Also, the Director General and NATCOM, Daniel Kaitibu, say digital development go help improve the country human capital.
Digital development is the new hope and is on everybody's lips globally. However, it is clear that there is a gap in digital development in sub-Saharan Africa, Sierra Leone being no exception. Sierra Leone as a country is sprinting towards digitalization and has the potential to reach a new height as long as it addresses shortfalls in physical and human capital, as well as weaknesses and gaps in digital governance. NATCOM as a regulator is poised to level up its digital game by creating the appropriate enabling regulatory framework which will work amicably to bolster digital competitiveness for all sector players in the digital ecosystem.
Inside Ion Talk, the country manager for Dial Africa, when one of the consultants them for the draft National Digital Policy, Dr. Ransford Mensah say it's important for make the country get consistent policy framework so the National Digital Development Policy go work in the interest of people in Salon.
For Sierra Leone to lay out a consistent policy and principles framework that will enable the creation of a vibrant, competitive digital market and serve the needs of its citizens. We would like to congratulate the very able Minister of MIT and the team and all the MDA representatives for the great work done in shaping this draft policy document through the various stakeholder consultation workshops and getting into this final validation stage.
Where it talk as the Minister of Information and Communication, Mohamed Ramansware talk about how this process be inclusive and when they start for put this policy together.
The development of this policy has been an all-inclusive journey that started in 2019 with the National Consultative Conference on Digital Transformation. During this period, we have worked with the World Bank to do a digital economy for Africa, DEA, country diagnostic assessment that shows the opportunities and challenges facing Sierra Leone in attaining a digital economy status.
Mohammed Ramanswari continue and talk about wetin the draft digital development policy go serve as, and say government through World Bank they on the final stage now for support Salone with $50 million for digital transformation na Salone.
The new digital development policy will serve as the bedrock for the development of a comprehensive national digital transformation strategy that is aligned fully with the country's medium-term national development plan. Moreover, it aims at creating a framework that addresses the needs for the consolidation of digital technology development initiatives under a national digital development agency under the Ministry of Information and Communications as a best practice to ensure a proactive and holistic whole-of-government approach to digital uptake. To inform that following over 2 years of very strategic engagement with the World Bank, Sierra Leone is now at its penultimate stage for $50 million World Bank support for President Bill's digital transformation agenda. These funds will be used to actualize some of the things already identified in the various documents. We want to be able to increase digital uptake of e-government services. We want to be able to focus clearly on issues around rural telephony, providing ICT and digital services for unserved and underserved populations. We want to be able to deliver things like e-justice. We want to be able to deliver on an e-parliament, e-cabinet, and a lot of things.
Mohammed Ramanswari Semuiso say, with support from Dial Africa, Salone don't meet the benchmark for the digital development policy. And this policy, ANC, go be one of the strategy them we go transform Salone globally on digitalization. For the Society for Radio Democracy, me Nasaptiyo Kalon.
All right, the program Good Morning Salone, they continue, and from that report we Saptukalon put together, we come back now the studio to the Minister of Environment, Professor Jawad Asatelona. Earlier, I did tell we, but waiting Salone don't they do so far for stop climate change. As one party country them, we go for go present position paper to the international community in a COP26. Let me look at the laws them now. We don't see different laws them, like you been agree earlier. This action plan where una the carry go. So how it different from previous laws them where we get so we're not able yet as a country for implement. Now we don't get action plan again for going at the international stage. How it different?
Yeah, it's totally different because as I mentioned earlier on, when Salone be the go pardon kind meetings then Sierra Leone was not represented at the highest level because there was no Minister of the Environment. Now, we are lucky and fortunate where His Excellency get the wisdom for create this new ministry. So all the very high level meetings where funding they come from are able to attend. In 2018 and 2019, I not be able to attend the meetings then because I was just head of an agency. But as minister, and I did the political decisions that take place. And also, when you look at Salone now, where you did abroad, it's totally different than Salone maybe 3, 4, 5 years ago. Because people don't start for takeaway very seriously because of the leadership we get at the moment.
Then see how we talk about so we get to do with climate change and all now human activities them, they cause them. So how the country need funding for stop human activities where we get laws them when are then we supposed for implement as a country. Why we need for wait for funding for stop human activity?
Yeah, that's a good question, Mibel. We need funding either from government or from donors abroad because as I be talk, we have to be very serious here. Let's take charcoal, for example. Okay? When I've been taken over na EPA, I engaged a paramount chief, na Mano Dase, Hajar. I explained to him, he understand me. How charcoal born in Canada, this country, we inherited from the war. The Liberians, the first step, people don't be born charcoal now no more. Very few. The Liberians, they wake up, now they do this. And there was a big refugee camp, now Mano Dase. So people, they buy the idea. But to me, money, now illegal tender. When I go buy, for example, this phone, maybe you go buy watch, for example, they know they ask you, say, take the money from. So we engage Haja, tell her, say, Haja, can you stop this charcoal issue in your chiefdom? So how can I do it? I said 3 ways. One, we will give you money for let you pay people then. We will provide seedlings for you. And also we will provide the tools there. You get a lot of areas there where people they will do their gardening there. And we strike a deal. Now, in that sense, now the only chiefdom now this country where nobody know the cut tree for charcoal. So then kind thing there, you need funding for do that.
So with that beautiful explanation, they were just getting scenario as example of how the country need funding for stop some of the human activities. Yalla just draw your attention to the Grafton Bypass Road, Bathurst, Gloucester and Gloucester, and then communities. And they remember the past administration where they may make that road they now being thing where the former president been talk say nobody not for build houses them in that particular area.
Correct.
But if you go there, you come out of the studio now and go there, you dey meet people they brush for build houses them.
Yeah.
So if now that we want to look at in this case, now funding we need for not for sell land to people in other kind areas in there.
Correct. That now one thing. Now it can be said the interministerial committee where they don't established. The Minister of Lands, if they give land to anybody now they kind sensitive areas and they consult the interministerial committee. Again, we know the water down in role, but we want to make sure say anybody where they go build host at that kind of situations, now that kind of areas you are protected because when disaster strike, they send a government, a proper government. So this government for protect the lives and property of its citizens. Now, if you look at that axis there, we don't go there past all other areas there. And anytime we go beat people there, we stop them. We don't even apprehend people there. We don't bring them to justice for stop that. But this country, as I say, now the enforcement now really need for enhance. And that is what we are doing. When I talk about funding, if somebody go build host yada, we can able move and go get another location.
But why when another engage the ministry, for example, say, then style we not supposed for the sell them. We want for let them to give the grow for help for protect the environment instead of waiting for go fund. Because if the ministry not give somebody paper for the and not go there.
Unfortunately, that is not true again. People that they build house here will not get paper. The minister don't tell me that day. And this interministerial committee, the Minister of Lands is part of it. Water Resources is part of it. We all they work together. We they go to a place there where they say they want a second down, people they not begin build house there. So the idea is for move people there, all in their locations there. Can they go, for example, in Newton? But I also want to tell you, say, the Minister of Lands for more takeover, for more in takeover, they don't tell me, say, you know, give permission to anybody, you know, sell land or appropriate land to anybody. Now that the Minister of Lands don't tell me.
So let's take you back to the issue of charcoal burning and dependence on the forest for where people are dependent. You talk about the funding, you talk about the policies, increasing access to gas or making gas cheaper for people, especially in the urban areas, now the cities, Freetown, like Dembo, McKinney. That's somebody go say go reduce the use of charcoal because now when you get markets, you go burn charcoal. Waiting the ministry and partners them, they do in this direction.
Thank you. This is a good plan we don't set up. Now, the idea is it's one of the projects that we talk about, okay? So, it is two folds. One, they provide incentives, that is either waivers or taxes, if we get money, to people there for import. But take note, only 7.2% of people in the Freetown area are using LPGs. So for increase that rate to even 50-60% get for be huge. How do you plan to do this? A bag of charcoal, depending on where you are, is about 40-45,000. A small cylinder of gas is about 95,000. Okay. So what you plan for do now for reduce by providing funding to the importer of LPG, now for reduce the price of the LPG, say to about 60,000. When we do that, the charcoal still high. And you know, say, when you use LPG, it's faster. You do cook quick. And it cleaner, you know, they dirty your environment. Also, they put smoke, so it's better that you use that. But again, when that they happen, the charcoal price get for candle. So what we get for do, we go put levy Or we say, for example, anybody where they live in a government building, for example, the military barracks or the police barracks, you are not allowed to use charcoal. For example, any vehicle where they come up from up country for camp, enough for carry charcoal inside. These are all the measures who they put in. But somebody who can say, oh, even though the LPG 60,000, I'm not going to afford that, which is understandable. So we also get provision for law against more cylinder there. Maybe when anybody get 10,000, if we're able to buy a cylinder, we're able to manage that. So these are all the measures that they put in place in that proposal we're talking about.
So how far are the measures there? So because it's not very serious issues we talk about now. So as this now one of the concerns them where people brush the environment for burn charcoal. And even apart from that, we get the patterns of farming at the moment in a slash and burn. All this affect the environment.
Yeah.
How far them policies here or the measures there so they
not just done with the charcoal. The charcoal, as I say, we don't really advance in that, and we can also able get climate financing. You know about carbon credit. Okay, so we get two-pronged approach, either through this mechanism we will use or apply for carbon credit, where we would already begin engage people that we want carbon credit, and we'll get down the thing and we can do. You also mentioned of something just now.
I mean, slash and burn.
Slash and burn. Now, we encourage people then not for do slash and burn. Let them go now the wetlands, now the swamps. And Minister of Agriculture don't do very well in that as well. Now, they don't provide a lot of tractors for swamp. And you find out, say, you can do 2-3 plantations, rice farm in the swamp. Whereas the slash and burn, this bush fallow system, now once a year.
Okay, continue for the with we inside the program. In a Minister of Environment, they talk about COP26 on a conference of parties will they be October 31 this year, but they talk about environment issues them and the steps we then don't take as ministries and partner them for ensure say them protect the Salone environment. The program na Good Morning Salone will they go for short break. We can continue for look at more issues.
Una picking for discharge today, but una not pay the money yet.
Doctor, give me your number. I don't send them.
Alex, I don't give you the number for send hour in fees.
I don't send them.
How much the big bag is?
Na 320,000.
I not get the full cash now.
Na for send them.
Send them? What in this send them where all man they talk about?
You late for your real Mary. Send them now go call the Ecopo service. This one fast pass to simple. With the Ecopo, you go send and receive money to anybody, any sign a salon, simple one. The person no need forget bank account or internet. Even if na bought phone you get, they go receive and cash money, easy one. With the Ecopo, you go buy something, any sign a salon, and the person will go buy, go cash them simple one. You go use Ecopo, any side where you see this sticker. With the go call bank, mobile banking, just don't easy. Ecopo, send them.
GhanaSongs.org. They causing confusion.
But this confuse me, boo. Look where Uncle Nat in Wall Solid. Look in block the way them beat for them, where they save solid, and at the same amount of cement and sand then they use for beat me on. But look what in the happen. Me wall down for them, all the block they all don't scatter. It like say some kind of magic they behind this. You want to know the magic behind this? Now the superior quality, extra strong, extra life, and extra yield cement where are the use, and that's not Dangote 3X Portland limestone cement. Dangote cement now the highest grade cement at the country. When a 42.5 R grade cement, when no one day come na this country, and one of the highest grade pan cement where you go get na the wall. Where you want you concrete, wall, and block solid, use Dangote 42.5 R cement, you no go regret them. You go get Dangote 42.5 R cement, na all the shop and building material store na the one whole country.
The program na Good Morning Salon where they come to you from the Society for Radio Democracy 98.1 FM. We will bring you this edition of the program Musa Kamara na Minim.
And Mabel Kaba.
Inside the program, we continue for look at more issues. Now we go na NEC, who said the National Electoral Commission. NEC October 2nd this year been conduct 2 local council by elections them na Kwenedugu district. And this election been get plenty violence. We been happen. We make the Chief Electoral Commissioner Mohammed Kone being promised for look inside the issue here. We make the commission be set up committee of inquiry for look inside this issue. And according to the acting director of communication na the National Electoral Commission, Christopher Jones, say the committee go present waiting them fair out for sake of the violence them we happen at Kwenedugu district by elections them this BNTM. And then go take action against anybody with them fair out say be mixed pandem violence here. It talk more to Princess Pia since this interview.
Well, we conduct this election October 2nd, 2021, Kwenedugu district. We conduct for the district chairperson. We also conduct for the ward councillor, Ward 155. Small chamot come out inside. That chamot day, we come out inside, waiting we do. We don't set up we own commission of inquiry and get a timeline where them for do the work done, therefore done before the ending of this month. I'm very hopeful that when they're done, they will submit their findings to the Chief Electoral Commissioner and Board of Commissioners. And the Board of Commissioners, they will look into it and they will allow for tell the public, bang the waiting at the outcome of the investigation. It don't start. Draft don't ready.
Una not think say NEC don't delay for investigate this issue, no don't take long?
Well, investigation is a process. Waiting for them to look at and say it's just simple. Hey, this money they say change figure. Hey, change figure. But the terms of reference for the investigating team, it goes beyond that. They also look at the recruitment process because SLPP raised issue about the polling staff, the type of polling staff. So we look at the recruitment process. How they recruiting people here? We also look at the training department. How they do their work well. We also look at the procedure. What are the procedure for reconciliation? And so other things that we look after. So it's better to delay and come up with a credible outcome of the investigation than to rush and bring something what's.
Whose action they go take against the defaulters them way una go find responsible for any act?
Just wait and see. If anyone is found wanting, it will feel the wrath of the commission.
This election we NEC be conduct now one way being carried a lot of perception, but NEC they work. Most people, because of the issues that will come out with suicide cry of the public be they bash at NEC, but then credibility. Una not think say this are one thing we una for concern, but
We're very, very concerned. We will not be concerned, we will not be for stop, we will not be for listen to nobody, but for sure serving a responsible institution. And we take into consideration the cry, the quiz, the complaint from a primary stakeholders. The political parties are primary stakeholders. That is why the Chief Electoral Commissioner immediately called for an emergency Board of Commissioners meeting and then set up an investigation team. We don't go only bashing at the big. Make you not kill the goose that lay the golden egg. These are the only NEC will get. Now we could take appropriate action.
so you think say people still forget hope in forthcoming elections they will NEC for the conduct?
This is not the one game boy picking we will get. We not get two. And for proof say we are serious, we mindful of what we do, we continue for conduct election that is credible, transparent, free, fair. We're going to the poll seeking November 13. Inside Kono, Ward 091, now 4 political party, the body for that city. APC, SLPP, REFP, and C4C, which were independent. We're going to Kenema City Council, now 3 political parties. And then the body for that city, Ward 69, SLPP, APC, and REFP. So you see, the 2 main parties them will complain. They still not go get nothing else for do because election and business. When teeth and tongue can make blabber, now teeth and tongue back, now then they settle them. It will be settled. We will come out clean and continue for do a job. We will with the credibility we will get and the accountability because we election what they do, not a black bag election. Now open one.
Whether the acting director of media and communication at the National Electoral Commission, NEC, Christopher Jones, made talk to Princess Pia since in that interview for SICA, the committee, we then set up for look inside the violence them we say being at the Kwenedugu by elections, we NEC all earlier this month. The program na Good Morning Salon, where they come to you from the Society for Radio Democracy 98.1 FM. Well, we will listen to a text message them on the number 0779819821 and also on the Facebook page. And I tell now for me to look at some of the text messages then Mabel.
All right, they look at messages when I don't send this very first one. Say, good morning, Radio D. Kindly ask the minister to explain on how the ministry intends to address the deforestation at Frobe College, Dwazak, New England, Leicester, Bathurst, Regent, Guma Dam environs, and all around the Western Area Peninsula. It is going on even as we speak. We have had the same explanations over time, but deforestation continues. It come from Val.
This is Marima Masako on our Facebook page. They say, Mr. Minister, charcoal is the means of energy to run homes. If you decide to stop the transporting of charcoal to Freetown and urban areas without proving other sustainable means, that decision will receive serious public anger. They will resist that because they need charcoal to make their food so that they cannot give in to starving. Okay, and also, Mr. Minister, read between the lines, please.
This other one says, Mr. Minister, climate change is about human activity and we all deliberately destroying our environment. There has to be drastic steps to stop these activities. The trees on Bathurst Street, Liverpool Street, Lamina Sanko Street has been cut down. Aberdeen has no more trees or mangrove. Almost all areas of the island is occupied by buildings. Even now, as I speak, they have cleared up portions for buildings. So why are we wasting resources to attend a conference? To what end?
This one say, what about those depending on charcoal production as their livelihood, Mr. Minister? What provisions are going to give to these dependents for their livelihood? This is now from Mohammed Kala on our Facebook page.
All right, so they look at small messages where don't come na the program this morning. All right, we're going to the Facebook page. Alfred Olukoka, they say education is power. Please, Mr. Minister, work hard to make we the disabled and others. All right, this I think it is for do with their education story here. So, excuse me. It says, so let the minister make sure the disabled people get access to the loan facility.
This one from Sam Harris in Fande, now Facebook page. They say, I did a course on environmental protection in Cambridge. I met with the EP boss for South and discussed some important issues, how to tackle environment issues in the South, which can be done by including young people in the fight.
All right, on Facebook again, Charles Kano said tree planting is the only way out of emerging issues. Well done, sir, for the job well done within this shortest time in the existence of the ministry.
Okay, Mabel, for me.
All right, I'll read this final one before we take jingle and come to the minister for respond. It says, Professor, what has your ministry been doing about rampant street smoking, which is also environmental hazard for people? Hastings. We get so many messages where they come in, but we take short commercial break, and the minister will respond to the one them we don't come in so far. We take commercial break first.
EcoBank, the leading bank na salon. Don't come.
Hey, this blow me mind, Bobs. You don't hear about EcoBank, the new service to the customer them. That's not the EcoBank Express Points. When I'm going for make it easy for me and you, we don't want to go with Stemna Bank. Now that make EcoBank Express Point they plenty side near you area, like a pharmacy, shop, supermarket, and even na microfinance or any side where you see the Express Point sign. On top that, EcoBank Express Point, they give you the service where you bank they give you, even where the bank don't lock. Like you go put money, pull money, open express account, pay your bill, buy airtime, receive money through Western Union, and send and receive money through Rapid Transfer. When an EcoBank their own money transfer service, where they operate at 33 African countries them, outside EcoBank Day, and you don't need for carry any foreign currency. EcoBank care about you. You just go to any side where the agent and the Express Point sign day today for easy banking, easy access, no yagba.
EcoBank, the leading bank.
Yeah, I'm killing them shot. Because I swear God, if I
When you buy and service your Toyota vehicle to the right people them, you know they get one a that. And that's na Sika Motors Sierra Leone Limited, na 21 Bible Road Kisi Freetong. Sika Motors na the only authorized distributor for Toyota vehicle and genuine Toyota spare parts them na the country for Toyota Motors Corporation of Japan. Them vehicle and design for meet the weather condition of this country. Them make them vehicle then specially for meet the utility, commercial, private, and executive vehicular need. You go get 3 year or 100,000 kilometer warranty. In not up though, you go get license and registration with free regular service up to 15,000 kilometer for any Toyota vehicle where you buy from Sika Motors. With the state-of-the-art workshop, we get modern diagnostic machine them together with trained technician them go give you vehicle the service precision where in need, where that go give you the collect where you deserve. For no more about Sika Motors Sierra Leone Limited, go na number 21 Bible Road Kisi Freetong. Telephone 088 012 350 and 088 012 355. Sika Motors Sierra Leone Limited, the party where you for believe, forget original and quality Toyota vehicle and spare parts them.
The program is still listening to a Good Morning Saloon where they come to you from 98.1 FM. If you just the January, we get the Minister of Environment, Professor Fudimori Bajawat, with inside the program they talk about the steps them we then don't take for ensuring them protect the environment ahead of the Conference of Parties COP26, where Salon they go present them position on the environment management and call on global action for support Salon in the preservation of the environment. Mr. Minister, questions they don't come for you through a text line. You can respond to the messages there so and we look at and continue the discussion inside the program.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I want to thank all the people that were sending them questions. We are all Sierra Leoneans. We get the best as far as the environmental issues are concerned. But the questions, they all come around deforestation, charcoal, and climate change activities we don't do. Let me start with the deforestation around the Western Area Peninsula. I did mention, say, an interministerial committee be done established. For now, we do operate in the Western area and we therefore go to the provinces. Now, you get 8 ministries in, we will operate with all the agencies, then water resources, GUMA, all the way in this. The deforestation at the Western area is very serious. We all know that, and that make we don't put a lot of measures in place. For say I will categorize or come up with all the measures that we don't put in place about policing. It's about enforcement. We able to get funding from CRS, for example. We don't engage the forest guards there, and government also been give permission for law employ 500 forest guards for help protect the Western area. That has been done. CRS go 25 bikes so that people they go the police they will move around. And we also once get the police and military. Now, thank God, we not get war. So we're in the process of getting some military men for their camps there. Maybe every 2-3 miles then they. Because if there people they not there around, people continue for do this unabated. About the charcoal. Indeed, I say we go use LPG, which is other forms of fuel there. We also get other forms of charcoal that they make up from, for example, coconut, from bricks, where they use stick. But the alternative livelihood is very good. Now that make I mention the manual that's an issue. I understand, just can't say stop, not use charcoal again. What is the person go use? Or the one the way they cut the charcoal. So they talk about the consumers, and the one that also where they produce the charcoal. What you get for do them? It just go in the rhyme with the sand mining policy what they try for put together about people who do sand mining. The Ministry of Fisheries go give them boats then so that you go do some activities rather than stop sand mining at the coastal line. So we will do similarly for the charcoal producers. We will provide incentives for the alternative livelihoods. Let them go back and do small gardening or do other things and we'll be able to generate some income for them. We don't say this now about bread and butter. But if we continue for cut trees and for charcoal, we'll continue for cut trees and for urbanization, we continue for cut trees and for scaffolding, I'm afraid this place will be a desert, and we don't want to let that be. Somebody talk about climate change activities. Now, we all know, say, now we all activities, what we call anthropogenic activities, now they cause this climate change. We they cut the trees then, we they do things where we're not supposed to do, okay? And once the temperature they rise, and they go up, we also they see issues, islands and where they sink. Yeliboya, for example, when they see Plantain Island, they are sinking, either because of erosion, because they don't cut the tree cover, or the sea level they rise as well, and the temperature they go up. So all the activities and that thing and that where we for try for stop as a nation, as a people, if we really wanted this go before. Somebody talk about tree planting, we give other person give compliment. Yes, we are planting 5 million trees in degraded areas, but that's not enough. We want to plant even 25 to 50 million trees in this country. That's why we are asking for funding, and government will be able to do all this alone. Government, the 5 million trees will they plant. Now government give that money there. Okay. So it's huge on government, and there is a question on education and disabled people forget loan. Yes, as I say, we introduce education at the school curriculum because picking them, they take what they learn at school as gospel truth. So we are moving in the right direction.
We now they prepare now for go represent Salone na the COP26, and I take you to the United Nations call to actions for disaster risk reduction. Yusuf earlier mentioned say Salone ranking been there very low, and Salone are one of the least prepared before the interventions or the creation of the disaster management agency in disaster response. Now when they go into this and we look at the Sendai framework, we give 4 priorities and also 7 targets for get rank to the fight against disaster issues. Going into COP26 in the face of disaster issues, who size Salone stand and what in Salone stand for gain, considering the fact that surveys them from the National Disaster Management Agency, the 10 within their units show say 35% of Salone populations being exposed to disaster or still exposed to disasters, and 14% of Salone country area not disaster prone.
Yeah, that's a great question. As I say, we have a good leader. The president is a visionary leader. When it be create this, we get disaster management with the ONS, but it decides for creator as a separate entity, which is very, very good. And what we don't do, we don't also beef up the response mechanism. And also, meteorology, for example, awareness, alertness, all this, we don't get this early warning system we don't set up. This they guide you, not only about disaster, about a lot of things in the country. So what you will go cope with, will they go present, say, this is where we are, this is what we have done, and this is where we want to go. We're getting challenging, we're happy.
All right, so I'm moving to the COP. Now Sunday for start, the 31st to the 12th of November. So on behalf of Salona, almost man delegation, they go.
The one that we don't register is about 20-something, 26 or so. And take note, it's not only about the environment, it's ministry, it's cross-cutting. From MIOM environment, I think now 3 no more they go. From MIOM environment, core environment, we get somebody where they come on NPAA, where relevant. We get EPAs where they go. We get meteorology. We get other transport, somebody they come out from fisheries. Somebody they come out, the Minister of Health, they go as well. 2 people they come out from Ministry of Energy. So all the things that you put together, and then we get State House list. But again, we can't go anybody where not relevant to COP26.
So now at which cost to the country?
A lot of them are being funded. For example, EPA staff, they are all being funded. Meteorology being funded. So the one the way they go, now few way actually they are government cost.
So earlier you been make mention of about $100 billion we say they for like countries them go really able for present something they go tap into for Salone now waiting the delegates them, una way they go represent the country, what they think of bringing back home?
10%. I'm to go for $100 million. If I get down there, I want to come with big placards. So I don't get 100 million on climate from UNFCCC for combat climate change in this country.
What are the chance of getting this?
A very high. One chance is the pavilion we don't get. Number two, the bilaterals where His Excellency, the President, they get with the British Prime Minister, take note now the host time together with the Italians there. GCF, those funding mechanisms there. People that they clamor, people that they come out say, we want me to our president, we want me to our president. Interestingly, now we don't they say no, president don't go able to meet with everybody. He will try. Because in time, now Glasgow, now between they left Sunday morning, me they left Saturday, I reached Sunday. In they left Sunday morning, the conference they begin Monday, Tuesday. The third and they return. So that then 2 days then we don't get a lot of confirmations, we don't get a lot of requests for let with president meet with them people there. And what he also don't put you up the ladder, the gender empowerment bill. People that don't hear about this death penalty we don't abolish. So these are all things we don't really put we right up there in the.
So if Salon able for go get that 10% of the 100 billion loans where you say now you target that one day now waiting you really plan for can do with them if money really comes out from this particular COP26.
As I say, they don't just take money they give you. You get for present projects, bankable projects with costing, and that we don't do. We don't get 10 projects there, as I mentioned. We will get for go present. We don't make flyers there. We get booklets there. We get the pavilion. We get for we run with pavilion 24/7. People they get for they engage donors there, development partners there for help with. So I think we are doing pretty well, and I believe we'll be able to get that $100 billion. And I pray for that.
Able to get that $100 million. Professor Jawad, in front of the world, they talk about saloon environment issues. What do they present to the world as we say saloon day now in terms of environment management?
They present to the world say Sierra Leone will get a lot of environmental challenges, and one of them is deforestation. Number two, solid waste management. Number three, education awareness. We need those three. If we put them three things together, the world go every way. We don't. Then I'll also tell them say this is what we have done. We don't get a new ministry. We don't get a disaster management. We don't get early warning systems established. We don't get this. We don't get that. Now this is what we need.
Somebody on our Facebook, Jasmine Jisu Sheriff, they ask, please ask the minister if it is true that our delegation to COP26 is 70 persons. If not, what is the size? Thank you.
That's not true. People that they apply for go. Now we now the ministry, now we they look at that list, we scrutinize them. Now we they register. Foreign Affairs, they coordinate for the visa application.
So in total, you say
we no care go 70 people.
In total, now almost.
Before Adikaya, I think I began 20 something. I don't know because we got forget a list from State House where maybe 8 or so, president and the security and other things there. But what people that they hear now just hearsay and it's not true.
All right, we see more message than they come in. This one said, let the ministry support us to produce charcoal with agricultural waste. For example, coconut shells.
Coconut shell, I talked about that.
So, coconut shells to charcoal. And also this other person, they say, what is the ministry doing to those that are building houses at swamp areas? Some people are banking the water and at the end of the day, it destroys the land the more.
Yeah, thank you very much. That always be the same. Enforcement, monitoring. No left you don't take the person go build a house. Lands no give permit for people that for go build house. Those are the rudimentary things that we need for do. And that make we don't beef up with monitoring systems, we don't beef up with enforcement systems. So that people they know will build and then swamp there. Because for goodness sake, I go Regent, just by the police station. You get a couple of houses there where older houses where people that they migrate from their houses there every rainy season. Then they go deep, the ground floor, nobody they live there. So they live there just like they migratory birds there, okay, where they move where the weather find them. That's what they are doing. I tell them, I say, this is not, why did you build here? Oh, we don't do here for 20 years. But every year, when rain season heavy, you come on your house. Then you come back after the rains. Why you push yourself at that kind of punishment there?
Somebody they say 98.1, we need environmental on your radio. I don't know if the professor will ready for do business with 98.1 environmental hour. Somebody they say they need environmental.
Yeah, sure. We get environmental hour na SLBC.
The person say 98.
98.1, we are okay with that.
All right. So
but we know the left on our schedule.
No, you're not left to win. The money where you bring the money come ready for the business.
We'll go think about that.
All right, so the wrap up the program now, and Unaga Fogo represents Salone now the COP26, which to the left now the ears of listeners, them especially people who don't they involve in human activities, them where they unbug the environment. Which to the left of them?
My fellow Sierra Leoneans, do you are the appeal to honor as Una Minister of the Environment? Not to me one will solve environmental issues in this country. Not to the ministry alone, not to the agencies, and I will all go help. Then you know what they do where they affect the environment, Lord stop them. Lord stop for bill, now then heat slopes. Lord stop for bill, now swamp thing. Lord stop for cut forest. So I think I win at the third or fifth rank in terms of biodiversity. If we cut down trees, then would they lost the trees, then would they even lost the animal species, and some of them they go into extinction. We don't want to let that happen. We don't want to let this country become a desert, because when you cut trees, then more carbon dioxide is going to the environment, it trap the heat, what we call global warming. Right. And rest waiting for happen. The temperature they go up, they get erratic rainfall. We don't get enough crop yield. Right. Health issues they come in, water issues they come in. Lord do waiting at the right thing. When I listen to we. And I want to tell now all plenty thank you. Ona be the listen.
Many thanks for you joining at the program this morning, Minister of Environment, Professor Fode Jawad. Thank you, Ikan, at the program. Many thanks to the production team. Alex Lawrence Koroma and Michael Sambola produced the program. DJ Lava give technical support. Moses Kavra make on us on Facebook. So till we meet again, Mabel Kabade say, get yourself a wonderful day.
And Musa Kamara say bye-bye.